So everybody, I hope you all have had a wonderful holiday. It is now time for us to begin part 2 of the Fate Grand Order story and delve into the prologue for this mysterious transition into something that nobody knows. No, Cosmos and the Lost Spell. Anyway, all pretext aside, I have read this before. From this point forward, everything in NA, nothing will be a surprise to me, but I will continue to read it for you guys as long as you enjoy it, and as long as you say you want me to. So, let's just dive right into the prologue. December 26th, 2019. Also, let's get that 30 SQ, baby! One more 10 pull to be disappointed by, yeah! December 26, 2019. Gouda has completed his mission. He repaired every singularity, saving mankind from a dire existential threat. The ray shift system, which let him fight the destruction of proper human history, has been placed on lockdown as of this moment. The servants summoned to Caldia have been released from their contracts. Their tasks completed. It's bullshit, I just pulled a Reshkagol, she can't leave. Save for Caldia's acting director, Leonardo da Vinci. Every Caldian servant is gone, vanished from the face of the earth. Oh. Oh. Oh! It's morning. Oh. Oh? Morning, foe. Oh. Foe!
Pardon the intrusion, Master Gouda. Oh, you're finally awake. Good morning, Senpai. You must have been exhausted after all that Christmas cleanup. I'm glad Acting Director Da Vinci gave everyone today off, after we all went a little bit wild last night. It's hard to believe it's been a whole year since we completed the Grand Order and prevented the incineration of humanity. Yesterday may have been our last opportunity to eat with the staff we've come to know so well. But we shouldn't be too sad about that. They all have great jobs waiting for them at their next employers. I was also told that you'll first be going back to your family's home, Senpai. Do you, know what you'll be doing after that?
I got such a huge paycheck that I'm totally at a loss. What about you, Mash? What'll you be doing?
I'm going to stay at Caldia for just a little while longer after everyone else leaves. All of our medical data may be safely backed up, but we still have to finish dismantling Caldia's summoning system, so...
Whoa. Whoa!
Foe? What was that all about? He just ran down the hallway all of a sudden. I'd better go look for him, to make sure that he doesn't interfere with everyone else's packing. Please, you just relax, Senpai. I'll see you again tonight at the farewell party.
Well, I guess I'll be saying goodbye to this room soon. 2 whole years, and I never put a decoration up. Weird. Maybe I'll take a walk around. Did you hear the news? They say the inspectors for the inquiry board are already at the foot of the mountain. Apparently they'll be coming up here by helicopter once this blizzard dies down. Soon we'll have a new director appointed by the Mages Association, along with 50 of their flunkies. Saying it's an investigation sanctioned by the UN sounds nice, but let's not kid ourselves about what this is. It's just a hostile takeover. All this time, the higher-ups at the association have written off Caldia as just another observatory. But the moment they see it has value, they swoop in to milk it for all it's worth. Maybe it's weird for me to be upset about this, but I feel sorry for Olga Marie. She'd never have wanted things to turn out this way.
Well, that's a surprise. You couldn't stand her back when she was alive.
I mean, sure, I remember how she used to yell about anything and everything. Plus she was, well, a bit incompetent. She messed up all the time. But still, when I think back on it, I can't help but be impressed at how well she did despite all that. Honestly, we should have been more considerate of her circumstances. Even if she was the daughter of a lord family, she was still just a girl fresh out of school who'd recently lost her father.
I guess, but you just have to set that sort of thing aside when you take a position of power, right? As the heir to the Animosphere, she should have had that stuff completely covered, no matter what her age or how recent her dad's death was. To be brutally honest, she should never have taken over as director in the first place, but she clung to the authority it gave to her anyway. And look where that got us. Caldia was nearly obliterated, and we had to beg the Mages Association for help to rebuild it. So it sucks, but if we want Caldia to keep going, we have to let this new director take over. And if Olga Marie was still here, you can bet she'd be the first in line to hand off the responsibility. Seeing as the alternative is having it shut down for good.
Hey there. Interesting talk you guys are having. Oh, hey there, Candidate Gouda. Taking a walk around Caldia. Enjoy it while you can. This is probably your last chance for a peaceful walk and fond memories here. Once the investigation gets going, there'll be scary security guards walking around like they own the place. You know, maybe I should take a page from your book and go for a walk myself. This might be the last chance I'll get to go wherever I want around here without a security pass.
Oh, so you're staying here, Dustin? Oh right, you were just an ordinary engineer, weren't you?
Well, excuse me for being ordinary. This is why I hate talking with you upstart mage jerks. An ordinary engineer? Sure, not everyone who works for Caldia is a mage. I used to study cosmic rays as a run-of-the-mill physicist before I came here. It was the last director, Marsbury, who offered me a job here. At the time, I was struggling just to get by. I'm guessing he wanted me for my experience with particle accelerators. At first, I thought he was full of shit. But eventually, his earnestness and passion won me over. Before I knew it, I found myself out here in the middle of nowhere. That was 15 years ago. As far as I'm concerned, this place is my home now.
Is that so? I'm heading to London myself. One of the Clock Tower factions liked what they saw and made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. But hey, if they start talking about making a new Caldius there, maybe I'll give you a call. We're not kids anymore, right? Nothing wrong with selling your hard-earned expertise to the highest bidder in this day and age.
That's just like you, Sylvia. You always were a real piece of work. But I appreciate your consideration. Or at least as close as you can get. Hey, while you're here, Candidate Gouda, on second thought, let me just call you Gouda. The inspectors are gonna have some questions for you, seeing as you're one of the mastered candidates. And the Mages Association people are about 10 times more calculating and devious than Sylvia here. I don't think you'll be in any danger as long as Da Vinci's around, but watch out all the same. No matter how horrible they are to you, you can't lose your temper with them. Like they say, the only way to win is to not play. Just smile and nod. Try not to let them get to you. Don't worry, just play up the goody two-shoes act and they'll run out of nits to pick soon enough. You'll be out of there in no time.
I do agree with that. Besides, you didn't do anything wrong, Gouda. If push comes to shove, we'll vouch for that ourselves. Given the circumstances, you took the best course of action possible and did everything that you could. We can all attest to that, so don't be afraid to hold your head high. and tell them, "Yeah, I'm Gouda, Master of Caldia and Savior of Humanity. What do you want?" Well, hey there, if it isn't Gouda. How come you're not with MASH? This year's only got a few days left in it, you know. If I were you, I'd want to make sure I had as many happy memories as possible together with her before I left.
Hey, I just wanted to say bye to you, though, Da Vinci.
Well, thanks for that. Too bad about that whole last part, though. But never mind that, I still have to finish writing this report. Got some last-minute things that I need to take care of before tomorrow. And anyway, you've got questions, right? You mind if I keep writing while I answer you?
Fine with me.
Great. No need to bother telling me what they are. Da Vinci knows what's up. The new director who will be here soon, the pending investigation, what's going to happen to Caldia. So how about we review everything that's happened so far? In the year 2017, Caldia detected an abnormality in Caldius, a simulation of the world as it'll be 100 years in the future. The light of civilization had gone missing from Caldias, which meant that it had observed the end of humanity. We hypothesized that the source of this abnormality lay in 2004 in the Japanese town of Fuyuki. We decided to send Team A, of which MASH was a member, there on an experimental ray shift. Unfortunately, the entire team was incapacitated in active sabotage, as were the other masters on standby. That's Caldia down 47 masters in a single stroke. But then there was you, Gouda, the 48th master. You were just a commoner selected to fill a quota, but you ray-shifted successfully. And so, as humanity's last master, the mission of preventing mankind's extermination fell to you. That began the Grand Order, our mission to restore humanity. Caldia went on to fix 7 singularities before finding the final singularity. There, they defeated the King of Mages, the one behind the incineration of humanity, and succeeded at repairing the foundations of human history. That's right. You are the one who officially completed the Order and who took back the world for mankind. The very world you're standing on right now. But your incredible legendary adventure has come to an end, and it's time to return to reality. Frankly, it's time to pass the torch. We've lost 80% of our staff, and we simply can't continue operating as matters stand. So we're getting an influx of new staff from the outside. The formalities were finished about a month ago, and they just finished choosing the new staff last week. Which means they've been discussing what to do about us for almost a year now. The staff is practically knocking on our doorstep as we speak. In a few days, Caldia will be officially under new management.
A new Caldia?
That's right. We'll have a new director chosen by the Mages Association itself, along with the staff he personally trained. The new director is Gordolf Music. He's the heir to a fairly well-known family in the magecraft world. I'm told he spent pretty much everything he had to snag Caldia and all of its benefits. He probably did that as a show of power to let everyone know that Caldia is now exclusively under the Music family control. The proceedings are already underway, and it looks like most of our current staff are being let go. But that's not the problem. You'll still be you even if they kick you out of Caldia for good. The problem is the UN inspectors who will be coming along with them. Grand Order or not, there's no denying that Caldia broke a whole mess of regulations. Changing personnel without clearing it with the Mages Association, disclosing highly classified information to low-level personnel, overusing servant summons, which were supposed to be limited to up to 7 servants, conducting ray shifts without UN authorization. As far as they're concerned, these are all major crimes. even though we didn't do everything wrong. Even though we were fighting to protect humanity. Exactly, not a single one of us did anything for our own personal benefit. Couldn't even if we wanted to, in fact, seeing as we were the only humans left in the entire world. But unfortunately, that meant less than nothing to them. Sure, they could see what we were fighting against in the data. That year-long global blank that traces the singularities left behind on Sheba. Unbelievable as the incineration of humanity may be, the Association had to admit that it really did happen. But for them, the data is just that. Data. All they had to say in response was, so what? As far as they're concerned, the whole world ended while they were sleeping, and by the time they woke up, it was all back to normal. The only thing that they can see is the scores of dead, the valuable master candidates who were injured, and the litany of rules that Caldia broke while this was going on. So this investigation is taking place to determine if these acts were deliberate. In the eyes of the Association, the staff of Caldia is nothing more than a band of criminals. Of course, that's why I'm writing all these reports, to prove that all of this is just a big misunderstanding. Since data's all they've got to work with, data's how we're going to cover our asses. Once I prove that everything Caldia did was in order to preserve humanity and not to betray it, my work here will finally be done. Then the weight of everything he stuck me with will finally be off my shoulders. Including you, Aguda.
So that's why she's been sticking around. So what is this paperwork that you're going to file? Pulls up. Struggles to pull up large, hefty handfuls of folders and papers. Thuds them onto the table.
Mostly our servant usage records, our servants' current conditions. I know you don't think of them that way, but servants are extremely powerful weapons, you know. So as far as the people outside are concerned, this is of critical importance, since it has to do with their own safety. Oh, and there's one more serious issue you should be aware of, especially since it concerns you directly. The blast in the command room left all 47 of those masters with horrific injuries. With them all near death, we cryogenically froze them in their coffins, and we've been slowly thawing them all out one by one over the past year. Now only the 7 Team A masters, whose coffins were still activating when the blast went off, again, the entire team, save for MASH, remain in cryo-storage. It's a good bit harder to thaw and revive them, you see, so we kept putting it off until they were in perfect condition. But once this investigation gets underway, we should finally be able to revive them thanks to new staff who specialize in healing spells. And I'm guessing that once that happens, some of these Team A masters are going to take over as the new masters of Caldia. The new director has been saying that he won't need you anymore and that you'll be relieved of your position within the year. Because he's already got his eye on the other masters that he trusts from distinguished mage families.
Psh, what an idiot.
Anyway, I know this is all a lot to deal with, but don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I haven't spent the last 6 months preparing for this day for nothing, you know.
I believe you mean we, Leonardo da Vinci. After all, I am the one who did most of the work investigating the Association's movements and anonymizing the spirit origin graph and dismissing the servants. Not that it was especially onerous for me, of course. Holmes? Why are you
silhouetted?
Ah, yes, precisely the sort of reaction I was hoping for. That makes all the time I spend hiding in the shadows worthwhile.
Why did you have to let someone, even him, know that you were here, Holmes? Sorry about that, Gouda. The fact that Holmes is here is the toppest of top secrets. I have not so much as included his name in any of the reports to the Association. As far as they know, Sherlock Holmes was never amongst the heroic spirits summoned to Caldia, and I mean to keep it that way. I guess that you could call this a kind of insurance policy just in case everything goes south.
Insurance policy? South? Indeed, in the event that we face an enemy we cannot see, we will need an ally the enemy cannot see in return, hence our extreme caution. Of course, I'm no fighter. Should things turn violent, I won't hesitate to retreat to the workshop. You're not a fighter, but what about your Baritsu? Baritsu is strictly for self-defense. If armed assailants were to attack, I'd only be able to protect myself.
Whoa, whoa, easy there. Things may get heated, but they're not going to turn violent. The main reason I had Holmes stay behind was to help with something that I've been working on. You see, Holmes is an even more skilled scientist and mage than his stories let on. So I figured that he would be the perfect choice to help me with a little something that I've been building. Look at this. Just an ordinary briefcase, right? But its contents are more valuable than all the treasures in this world combined. We still haven't finished moving everything around, so I can't take it out just yet, but we should be done in another 5 days. If my calculations are correct, and they always are, it'll be done before we have to leave Caldia. I'll tell you what it is then.
I most heartily concur. Now then, I think I shall return to the workshop. And don't worry! If a time should come when you are imprisoned, that is when I shall reveal my most secret technique. A secret technique? Like Super Baritsu?
Oh, come on. He was obviously talking about lockpicking. Any decent detective is an expert with lockpicks.
Behold, my secret technique. A gun. See, Holmes' secret technique is a gun. That's Moriarty's. Alright, Prologue, Chapter 2. December 27th, 2019. The blizzard is come and gone. Now all that remains is clear blue sky. Before long, the pale blue is marked by a single black dot of an approaching helicopter. The helicopter brings important passengers and the harsh reality that the end is close at hand.
Shh. 44 visitors cleared and registered. All entrants are permitted to enter Caldia by special exemption granted by the Association Board of Safety. Opening front gate. Welcome, Gordolf Music. Welcome, UN inspectors. On behalf of Caldia, we thank you for coming.
So this is it, huh?
I wonder what this new director the Mages Association chose is like. Gordolf Music, male, 28 years old, heir to a wealthy family of alchemists. At the clock tower, where the Mages Association is headquartered, he's considered to be, well, about average. Much as the musics can boast a long familial history, within the world of magecraft, they've essentially accomplished nothing. The only thing that sets them apart from the other mages is the extra bit of wealth they've accumulated by virtue of existing longer. Gordolf is basically just a rich brat from a well-off family. The question is, why would someone like that end up as Caldia's new director? I can't be certain until we meet him ourselves, but if I were to guess...
Oh ho, oh ho ho! This is great! Better than great! I didn't have very high hopes for a lab out in the middle of nowhere, so you can imagine my surprise and delight to see how modern it all is. In fact, I think it might be even more advanced than the ones in London. What a bargain!
Oh, speak of the devil, he's certainly got a boisterous voice. Just remember, Gouda, silence is golden. Trust me, this is the sort of person whose bad side you want to avoid even more than Olga Marie's. Piss him off and you'll never hear the end of it.
Oh ho! And you must be the servant I heard about in the report. You certainly do look the part. Let's see, Leonardo da Vinci, was it? Not bad at all for a replica of a well-known genius. I always did prefer a beautiful woman for a familiar.
Your Excellency, I believe that remark could be construed as sexual harassment. Remember, that servant is, for all intents and purposes, the acting director. Though it amounts to little more than running a dinky factory out in the sticks, she has managed to keep Caldia going in lieu of a proper director over the past year. It would be in your best interest to get on her good side. Why not lead with a compliment?
Koyanskaya, I thought I told you to whisper these sorts of things to me. Besides, I have no intention of getting chummy with a servant, no matter how beautiful she may be.
Why, thank you. You're only the last person I'd ever want to hear that from. But I'll take it as a compliment nonetheless. Welcome to the Caldia Security Organization, Director Music. You must be tired after your long trip here.
Not at all, not at all. Aside from the month we lost due to waiting around for the blizzard to clear up, it was a most pleasant trip indeed. Now then, without further ado, Leonardo da Vinci, right?
Just call me Da Vinci, or Castor if you find that too much to remember.
Very well. Castor should more than suffice. I'm told that you have been filling in after Director Olga Marie Animasphere and Acting Director Roni Archerman suffered some unfortunate accidents that led to them being unable to perform their duties. Your hard work is appreciated, but no longer required. As of now, I am assuming sole command of Caldia. What's more, much as I hate to do so, I will be taking all of you into custody immediately.
Easy there, Mash. Gouda, just play it nice and cool. My, what an unpleasant surprise. Custody, did you say? Did I hear you right? I'm afraid that you have no grounds to do so, not until this investigation is over, at least. Have the powers that be already ruled that Caldia is no more than a criminal cartel, or you have simply neglected to inform us? Because I'm quite sure that if that were the case, you would have come with more in the way of soldiers. We are the mysterious organization that saved the whole world, after all. If there was a warrant out for our arrest, you would have come with a small army at the very least. But you only brought a paltry 40 soldiers. Doesn't seem to fit the task, does it? So this isn't something the Mages Association decided, but a call that you made on your own, right? Why don't we get the association on the phone and see what they have to say about this? Or would you prefer I didn't do that?
What's the meaning of this, Koyanskaya? That servant's too smart for her own good. Didn't you tell me the only people left at Caldia were a bunch of engineers and a master who was still wet behind the ears? I thought there wasn't supposed to be anyone here who would disobey me.
Yes, Your Excellency. That was my understanding when I introduced this property to you. But my report must have been in error. Sorry about that. I'm afraid that servant is a reprehensible villain who doesn't know her place and thinks she doesn't have to listen to those of us with the Mages Association.
Wait a moment, Koyanskaya. Wouldn't a familiar who doesn't obey a mage be somewhat, dangerous?
Come now, Your Excellency, that won't do. You need to be aggressive. Show these people who's boss. Don't worry, we at NFF Services specialize in just these sorts of unlikely situations. Even if worst comes to worst, we won't let them lay a finger on you. Of course, that is a special additional service, so it won't come cheap.
What's this? Don't tell me you're trying to shake me down yet again, Koyanskaya.
Your Excellency.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I am a man of action when I need to be. Ahem. You've got quite a mouth on you, don't you, Leonardo? Just to be clear, this is far from the only personnel that I've brought with me from the association. Our helicopter will be back and forth ferrying many personnel over who are still on the boat. All told, there are about 120 security guards who have yet to arrive. It would be all too easy to take over Caldia with force, and I assure you that is a decision the Mages Association would back wholeheartedly. We would be well within our rights to consider the entire current staff criminals, and to haul them all up and lock them away while we investigate Caldia. Having said that, I would prefer to avoid violence should that be possible. Most of you will be fired regardless, but I would prefer we part on amicable terms. As such, I'll have the four of you kept in a single room. You'll wait there until the Inquiry Board summons you for your individual hearings. During that time, we will proceed with our inquiry into Caldia's activities while we begin to transition over to the new staff. Now, how does that sound? I believe this is the most peaceful option available on the table. I dare say you wouldn't get such a generous offer from another member of a wealthy mage family, like those blinded by their pride in brand ranks. They may think of those like you with no talent for magecraft as little more than slaves, but not me. And above all, I'd like to spare myself the tedium of torturing you for every little piece of information. I prefer to allow Koyunskaya to handle that. You should be grateful I'm such a gentleman. Just do as I say and you'll be released soon enough.
I see. The Mages Association certainly sent us quite a piece of work, didn't they? Thank you for that breathtaking display of chivalry, Director Music. Now, may I ask you something? I'd like to know why you bought up the rights to Caldia. Surely a little research lab out in the middle of nowhere can't have much of interest.
Not much of interest? I'll be the judge of that. True, Caldia doesn't enjoy the best reputation at the clock tower. I can't count how many times I've heard them say things like, their magecraft theories are nonsense, and they're just a bunch of incompetent frauds, or they're a disgrace to the 12 Lords. To hear them talk, you'd think they were discussing a problem child they wish had never been born. But not me. I believe there's tremendous value to be found here. Caldia shows real promise. Or at least it will once I'm instated as director. At any rate, when I learned that Caldia was being broken up into 7 parts and auctioned off, I made my decision and took action. I used the entirety of the music family fortune to buy all of Caldia's assets and prevent its dismantling. You see, the clock tower people were desperate to get their hands on technology they could bring back to their respective departments. But I just detest them. I couldn't stand to see them get what they want. An organization needs all of its parts, just like a human body. It's barbaric to try to carve out its heart or lop off one of its arms. I wanted Caldia in its natural, untarnished state, and now I have it. But I suppose there's an exception to every rule. The staff of an organization may be its lifeblood, but we won't be keeping them around.
There you go, Gouda. As you can see, he's hardly the most formidable opponent we've ever faced.
I believe that is more than enough in the way of pleasantries, Director Music. You are the future of Caldia, and they are the past. There's no need for you to reach any sort of understanding with them, nor for them to like you. More importantly, now that the Church is ready to investigate, I would like to begin as soon as possible. Indeed. You make an excellent point, Father Kotomine. Oh yes, allow me to introduce you. This is... Pleased to make your acquaintance. My name is Kotomine Kire. I'm a priest sent here to investigate on behalf of the Holy Church. I'll be staying here for a few days until the investigation is concluded. It's a pleasure to meet the saviors of humanity, people of Chaldea. I may not be here long, but I hope we can get help. I hope that we can help one another out during my stay. I believe in that guy, chat. I think we can trust him.
I can't believe that Caldea's disciplinary room is now being used as a confinement cell. You said it. If I'd known that we were going to end up stuck in here, I'd have loosened up the purse strings when it came to its budget. Just look at these rock-hard beds, this obsolete air conditioner, this cut-rate lighting. It may as well have been a confinement cell all along. At least we're technically allowed to leave it if we want, but still.
Yeah, at least our bathroom is separate from the dining area. I don't care for the way that new director does business, but... Well, I'm glad we're all together. A big happy family, Moonier, who we've never talked to or really mentioned before this.
Agreed. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't suspect some ulterior motive in rounding us up like this, but it's definitely better than keeping us apart. Still, Acting Director Da Vinci, I think I have a handle on who Mr. Gordoff is now, but... those other two, Miss Koyanskaya and Father Kodomine... You still don't know what their deal is, right? I haven't been able to get a read on them either. I can tell that they're not your everyday secretary and priest, but that's all I can tell. I can't get a read on their magecraft abilities either. All I know about Father Konomine is that he's from the Holy Church, another organization that's long butted heads with the Mages Association. As their name suggests, the Holy Church is a mysterious organization based on a religion that has followers all around the globe. They see mystics as something that's solely under their domain, and suffer neither magecraft nor heresy in the name of their lord. Their mission is more or less to bring all human knowledge under their control. They were a lot more aggressive about that back when I was alive, but nowadays they seem to be playing their cards much closer to their chest. I'm guessing that priest must be part of their combat team. Executors, I think they call them. They're supposed to be devotees of the Blade who spread God's teachings in his absence. That's about all you need to know about them. Those executors are both faithful and heretical, monsters who fight the mages and mystical creatures. They may not be a match for servants, but they're frighteningly powerful in a fight. True, I could tell that priest is adept at hunting and fighting. Or, at least that's what Galahad is telling me. As for Koyanskaya, we know so little about her it's almost comical. She isn't affiliated with either the Mages Association or the Holy Church. It looks like she was the one who may have convinced Gordoff to acquire Chaldea, but aside from that...
She did mention NFF Services. I've heard of them before. They make headlines in Russia about 6 months ago. They're a private military company. Mercenaries, basically. Word has it they're a group of specialists who never met a job they didn't like. I think they go around billing themselves as global kitschy business consultants.
Russia, The Mages Association doesn't have much sway there. So how did she and Gordoff come to know one another? No, wait. There were a number of academics among the new staff, and they're all from NFF Services. In which case, they must plan on reviving Team A with the new staff alone.
What? That's insane! Don't they know how much constant attention and adjusting the covens require during an unthawing process? We've done it more than anyone, and it still has a huge chance of failure, even for us. There's no way people who have never done it before can pull it off on their own.
Yeah, there's a pretty solid chance they'll fail, and Caldia's 7A ranked masters will be lost for good. Of course, that may be the point.
Gouda, get out here. The inspectors want to talk to you.
Well now, it looks like they're not wasting any time getting the interrogation party started. I'm surprised they'd kick things off with you, though. Wait and see what their game is. Remember, silence is golden. Try not to say anything more than is absolutely necessary.
Got it. Me dumb. Good. The case inspector is waiting for you in room 3. Just answer his questions honestly and you'll be released in no time. Don't even think about trying to resist. Well, considering, sir, you have a gun, and there's a bunch more of you that have guns, I'm fine with not resisting. I'd rather not be shot. I hate getting shot, Chad. I hate it. The worst. Anyway. 6 hours of endless questions. I had no idea what they were even talking about most of the time.
You look exhausted, little boy. This your first time playing with the big boys? Then you better hurry up and learn how this game is played. As they say, experience is every— Ah!
Oh, foe!
You... Foe? Ada, is this your cat? I'm sorry, I just couldn't help but hit back. Oops, clumsy me. Now I've gone and stepped on it. But what can you do? This is how it goes when the weak attack the strong. Maybe once upon a time this thing was more impressive, but now it's just a puny little hairball. It's the way of the world that it finds itself under the heel of a stronger animal now, don't you think?
Stop it! Get away from foe!
Ada, so wild. How brave of you to bare your fangs for your little pet. It's even cuter how they're barely more than nubs. But I can't just let this go. No, not after it went after my perfect skin with its little claws. Normally I'd break a leg or two so it knows not to mess with me again, but I might be willing to let it go unharmed if you agree to chat with me for a bit. So, what do you say? Care to swap secrets with little old me?
Alright, I'm trusting you to keep your word.
Now, settle down, little foe. Your owner and I are just getting down to brass tacks after all. Alright then, now that we have an agreement, my dear Gouda, here's my first question. How much do you know about Caldia? I'm told that you were scouted in some random country and brought here directly. But no matter how you slice it, you were born into a commoner's family. I bet you didn't even know the first thing about magecraft before you came here, did you? No, don't answer. It's all over your face. I see. So you had a strong aptitude for race shifting. I can't believe you came all this way on that alone. Do you even know where you are? They probably didn't even tell you which country Caldia is located in, did they?
Well, all I know is we're on a very tall mountain. Me dumb.
You're at the heart of one of the most secluded areas in the world. Not in the borders of any nation. An unobservable mountain that's been hidden behind a barrier of magecraft for hundreds of years. Had Caldia actually told you where you'd be going when they recruited you, I doubt you'd have ever signed up. I can practically see your protests, asking if they've lost their mind expecting you to go so far away. Trust me, this place is as isolated as you can get. I could show you the 6 months worth of paperwork it took to buy this place to prove it. But never mind that, it doesn't concern you anyway. The thing that I'm dying to learn more about is the original 48 Masters. Of those, 9 are still here. Mash Kyrie Light, the 7 Team A Masters in Cryo Storage, and you. The other 39 have been revived and sent home. No doubt they went back to living their lives in peace, but the thing is, their personal information still goes for a very high price. And why wouldn't it? Now that it's been proven that race shifting is possible, each of those candidates is worth their weight in gold. But none of them are likely to fetch as high of a price as Team A. They were the 7 people who were originally meant to save the world, not you. Anna, wait, that's not quite right, is it? Let me rephrase that. The 7 people from whom you stole the opportunity of a lifetime.
It's not my fault they were sleeping on the job and I just happened to fill the role.
Alright, that's enough out of you. My little footstool. Think that you could kneel for me like a good little weakling before the plane comes in for a landing? Now then, tell me, how much do you know about those 7 people? Don't tell me that you've never heard anything about them this whole time you've been here. They're your great senpai, after all. I'm pretty sure even Mash knows a thing or two about them. After all, they were training together to be masters long before you even knew what Caldia was.
Me dumb. Me dumb.
Hey? You really have no idea? Never mind their magecraft affinity, you don't even know their names? You're kidding! I didn't know that you were so cold-hearted, Gouda. In that case, you really can't blame them if they wake up pissed off at you, can you? After all, you stole everything from them. Their jobs, their purpose, even their place at Caldia.
Oh.
Anna, that was close. Come now, little foe, you shouldn't keep going after a lady's face. Keep acting up like this, and I might just have to defend myself. Maybe by biting off your head. Then that would be it for you, and you wouldn't have any more chances to learn again, now would you? Oh, darn. Just look at the time. I'm supposed to meet Sir Gordolf soon. So on that note, I think that I'll be on my way now. No more wasting time on a know-nothing patsy. Lucky for you, you're so ignorant, isn't it, Gouda? If you knew anything at all about even one of the Team A Masters, I'd be rushing you off to grill you about them in solitary for as long as it took. But sadly, it looks like that honeylicious branch isn't available to us, so bye-bye for now. Oh, and be careful when a beautiful woman comes your way from now on. Trust me, you don't want to find yourself falling for the honeypot.
I've read that, Dojin. She's gone. The Team A Masters, huh? I know nothing about them. All I know is they are comatose. Whoa!
Welcome back, Senpai. I see that you met up with Foe on the way. He's been hiding out for a while, so I'm relieved to see him with you. Senpai, is something wrong? Did the investigation go badly?
It's not the investigation, it's about Team A.
Team A? Now that you mention it, I never did tell you about them, did I? I didn't mean to keep it from you. We just never really had the time to discuss them. That's true. Especially since the 7 Team A Masters ended up not being at all involved in stopping the incineration of humanity. But now that they're about to be thawed out and we have nothing better to do, this seems as good a time as any to tell you a little bit about them. Team A refers to the group of A-ranked masters handpicked by Caldia. Mesh was originally part of this team too. First up, Kirstaria Voldim. The chairman of the Atmosphere-controlled Astromancy Department, one of the Clock Tower's 12 departments of study, and the official Team A leader. He's the head of the exceptionally distinguished Voldim family, whose name and magical circuits have both been around for thousands of years. He is also Marsbury's top pupil and was rumored to be a better heir to the lordship than Olga Marie. He was expected to forge a contract with a Lancer. In terms of overall magecraft compatibility, or capability, he was head and shoulders above the rest. Ophelia Farmsalone, the prodigy of the Evocation Department. She possessed special mystic eyes, so she wore an eye patch that really made her stand out, even here. She was expected to forge a contract with a Saber, but she seemed to be very particular about what sort of heroic spirit she would contract with. Kadok Zemlupus. Nothing special as far as mages go, but his affinity for race shifting was exemplary. His story is pretty similar to yours, seeing as he was the only ordinary member amongst all the geniuses on Team A. But his kindness more than made up for it, even if it did descend into self-deprecation at times. Yes, I remember. Kadok was always concerned for others. Though he also had a pessimistic side which bothered him as much as anyone else. He was expected to form a contract with a caster. He didn't have much magical energy, so he wanted to avoid a combat-oriented servant who could guzzle up everything he had before the fight even began. Next up, fan favorite, Scandinavia Peperoncino. That's right, you heard me, Scandinavia Peperoncino. Nobody knows his origins, and he's using a pseudonym, obviously. Also, he dresses like a JoJo character. He was a freelance mage Marsbury recruited after they met abroad. Cheerful and funny, he always had a joke ready that kept Team A's spirits high. He was also the oldest member of the team. You could say he was a man a bit ahead of his time. He was expected to form a contract with an archer. He had an Italian air about him, but he was also strangely knowledgeable about Buddhism. Naturally, he also knew a lot about Indian mythology, said he liked myths about cycles of death and rebirth. Akata Hinako. She got her start in Yumina, the botany department, which is tied to the studies of witches at the clock tower. She used to be part of Caldia's engineering team before her latent talents were spotted and she was added to the pool of master candidates. She was the kind of person who would have been happy doing nothing more than curling up with a good book from morning till night. But she had a strange aura about her that you couldn't help but notice. Come to think of it, Romani used to sulk about how she'd never come in for routine physicals. She was expected to form a contract with a rider. That was really important to her for some reason. Next, Beryl Goot. As for him... I guess we don't need to cover all of these masters in depth. Moving on! Last but not least, we have... Ah, yes, David Semvoid. He was something of an enigma, really. A loose cannon, you could say.
A loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules.
He even got himself banned from his department at the Mages Association. That would be the Folklore Department, or Brishsan, if you're wondering. They deal with otherworldly artifacts. It's an unorthodox field of study, despite being led by the Clock Tower's Chancellor. Anyway, Marsberry had the highest regard for David's talent. I thought that he was a rare find too. There's only one, maybe two other people I recognize as geniuses even when I was alive. And David was right up there with them. He never tried to understand anyone else, and nobody else ever understood him. He was expected to form a contract with a berserker, though no one ever expected him and his servant to reach any sort of understanding. And that's every master on Team A except for Beryl. We didn't really talk about him. Quite the cast of characters, am I right? But don't let that get to you. If anything, they're the ones who would be timid around you now. They may have been your senpai a year ago, but now you're the senpai, and you've got the experience to prove it. Team A is nothing if not a meritocracy. They respect people based on their accomplishments, and yours have been pretty incredible. In fact, if I were you, I wouldn't bank on getting any sleep for a week or so once they're awake.
The implications of that sentence.
They'll be constantly bugging you to tell them about your experiences in the singularities. Vodium has a great tea stash, so, as you'd expect from a noble, Kadok can be shy, but he's very studious and is hugely into mythology. Pepe was a great listener. Even Akuta, who usually never said much of anything, would open up in front of him. Indeed. I have no doubt that half of Team A would get along great with you, Gouda. Which is exactly why I'm concerned. Thawing them out will have a profound effect on Caldia's future. Gordolf is moving full steam ahead with the thaw, but it'll still take at least 4 days to get all the equipment ready. I can only hope that they finish investigating the current staff before they get started. I agree. Our term lasts until the very end of the year. So if the investigation concludes by the 31st, we should just be able to help thaw them out.
The very end of the year. Only 4 days to go. Foe!
Right. Whether you stay or go, this is still our problem to handle, at least for now. If something were to go down, it'd definitely be on the last day of the year, the 31st. So let's just be patient, keep our guard up, and wait for the right opportunity. Sound good, Master of Caldia?
And that's all we've got unlocked so far. As they said, if something's going down, it's gonna go down on the 31st. But luckily, nothing bad could possibly happen with this change in rank and file. Surely nothing unfortunate could befall anyone. It would be ridiculous to think that anything bad would happen. All that's gonna happen is Team A will get revived, and then we'll go hang out with all our new palsies. Well, until the 31st, look forward to waiting to hang out with our new best friends, guys. Yeah, thumbs up.